Hi, Very.
Hi, Shara. How are you?
Good, good, good. How are you?
I'm good.
I like your picture.
Thank you. I was from a recent trip to Mexico.
Oh, nice. Where in Mexico?
Puebla, Mexico. It's like 2 hours away from Mexico City. But there's just like lots of art, pottery, all that good stuff.
Nice. Good stuff. Good stuff.
And I was like, pretty buildings. Let me take a picture.
Very nice.
Well,
I like the background.
thank you, thank you. Okay, I'm going to share my screen since I'll be sharing today.
Okay. Looks
Just
like we have about 27 participants. So we'll go ahead and we'll give it one more minute and then I'll go ahead and kick it off and then I'll let you take it from there.
sounds like a plan.
So at about four after.
Yeah, not a problem. And you can see my screen, right? A lot to share today.
I can see it.
Perfect. Just making sure.
Alrighty. For those of you that are just now joining us, we are going to start in 1 minute.
We should get some sort of music, hold music while we're waiting for people.
Right, a little jazz or something.
Yeah, just to set the mood.
Alrighty, so let's go ahead and get started. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. This is the monthly Sugar Market Academy webinar. Um, Today we have Viri and James, who will be walking us through preference pages and forms. Viri, if you want to go ahead and get started, I'll let you take it away.
Perfect. Hi, everyone. Hope everybody's doing well and enjoyed their long weekend. I know I did. Uh, not long enough, though. So as Shara mentioned, today we are going to go over our preference pages and forms. Now, our agenda for today, excuse me, obviously introductions. As you guys know, Shara is our wonderful host for all of these sessions. My name is Viri. If some of you guys might know me as I am your sugar market consultant. But today we are going to go over why you need a preference center. What is the purpose of it? What type of preference center is right for you? We do have a couple options for you. We also will go over managing our email preferences. We'll have some takeaways and additional resources that you guys may find useful. So this is our little picture. James will be joining us a little bit later. So if you have any questions for me or for him, we will be answering them later. So getting started, why you need a preference center, okay? What's the importance of it? So you can manage your email subscriptions inside Sugar Market and CRM. Want to make sure that we have the information available for us. We can create targeted lists that are always up to date. That way we are not wondering, oh my gosh, are they up to date? Are we sending it to the right people? We'll have that ready for us to use. You can easily and quickly use opt-in mailing list for your emails and for your nurtures. That's the greatest thing about all of this. You can give your recipients the power to opt in and opt out of communications. The main goal of marketing is obviously sending people emails with the information that they might find helpful. We don't want to, and my last point here, we want to prevent recipients from opting out of all marketing communications. So as long as we give them options, there's a chance that they're going to keep, some of our mailing options. So whether it be newsletters, events, product information, we want to make sure we reach out to them. Okay. So jumping into what preference center is right for you. Do you need just the basics or do you need something a little bit more custom? Okay, so we do have both options. Sorry, just scrolling down here. So we have our preference list and page builder. So you can easily and quickly generate preference lists to add to your preference page. This is super simple to use, super easy to create. Preference page builder allows you to customize your page to be on brand. So as you can see here, a nice little preview. You can add your logo, you can change the color on there, just make it your own. Preference lists can be used with all emails and nurtures. That's one thing that I mentioned before. This is super simple and super easy to use, just so you make sure that you are sending to the right people. Okay. You can manually opt in or opt out records on your list. Again, super simple. We want to make sure that it is not complicated for you guys. I'll make sure everything's easy. And you can manually add people. You can manually opt in or opt out as needed. And I'll show you guys how. And then the last one is going to be our preference page can be automatically linked to all your email campaigns. So again, making it easy for you guys, making sure that you guys have that link to your preference page so people can, adjust their choices. Okay. So now with all of this, I'm going to go ahead and show you a couple things. So this is obviously, as you guys might be familiar with this, it's our Sugar Market instance. Now, to go over to your list builder, your preference list builder, you would go over to your main menu, you go over to list, and then as you know, you have a couple options on the left-hand side. You would just need to go down to your preference list. Okay, now this is for us, this is what we have so far, but you can have as many as you want, there's no limit. And you can name them whatever you want. To create one, you would just need to click on that blue button. It's going to give you a nice little pop-up. You type in your preference list name and a little description. Always make sure we love descriptions at Sugar Market. So you add that, and then once you do that, it will be added in here. As you can see, you're going to have your opted in, opted out in here. So you'll be able to see that. Okay. From here, directly from our preference list center, you can actually go over to your preference page. It's this little icon up here where you can click it and it's going to take you directly over to your preference page. Now, as I mentioned on my slide, you can customize this to make it your own. You can add a logo. You can add that right there. You can, and I'm going to minimize this, it's going to get really long. You can adjust the details and appearance. So make sure you name it whatever you want it to be named so that people understand your message. Okay. Under preference list. So based on the preference list that we created in the previous page, once you start using this, it will be empty at first, but this is where you would go to add a list. You would select your list from this dropdown. It's going to have all the lists that you have. You will have the ability to add a name. So if you named it, internal newsletter, something along the lines, and you want something else to be seen by the end user, you can adjust it there. And I always recommend that you add a little description to it. Now, why? It's because it makes it easier to know exactly what they're subscribing or unsubscribing to. So I always recommend that you add a little description. It just makes it a little bit easier for them to determine what their options are. Okay. So you can go ahead and do that. You're also able to adjust the styling of the text in here. You can have additional text and that will show up down here. So you'll be able to add that. And at the last option here is your button styling. So you'll be able to check that out. You can preview it, make sure that it is to your liking. It's, meets your brand colors and style and all that good stuff. And once you're ready, you can go ahead and save and publish. Okay. So that is going to be how you get to your preference page. Okay. Now, obviously, with this, you can, as I mentioned, you can have this automatically added to your emails, which is a great thing. So I'm going to go over to my emails and I already have one here. When you're setting up your email, you know the basics. You're going to be able to set up your campaign name, your subject line, all that good stuff. In order to have it automatically populated, you're going to make sure that this is checked, right? That way it's automatically added in there. When you go over to the build step, you're going to be able to find it here. And this is going to automatically link back to your preference page. So if you click on that, you can always go back in. Sorry. Yep, there we go. My computer is being weird. And you'll be able to see that link, which will link over to your preference page. Now, this one is a demo instance, so of course, it's not going to give you the right link because we're playing around with it all the time, but it's going to be that automated link. Okay, so that is going to be, essentially your basic preference page, preference list comes the basic ones. Now, if you want something a little extra because you may want to have additional preference, centers, preference list, you can actually create your custom preference center. Now, for a custom preference center, you can actually create it using the Sugar Market forms and the Sugar Market page builders. So you can use the flexibility of Sugar Market, their forms and page builder to create your own preference page design. As you can see here, it's going to look similar, but we get to play around a little bit more on how it looks and what we're actually putting in there. We can create multiple preference pages. So for different brands, different languages, regions, you name it, you'll have that ability from the forms and pages. You can also push your data to existing preference list if you want to, or you can also do pushing preference data into custom fields in CRM. Okay, that is a really helpful thing in case you want to push it to a specific field in CRM, you can do so. You can manage your email preferences using custom reports in Sugar Market and in CRM. Now, what does this all mean? Don't worry, I'm going to show you. Okay, so jumping back into Sugar Market, we are going to go over to our pages and forms. Now, obviously, as you guys know, it automatically goes to your pages, but the first thing that we always do is go over to our forms. And in here, we already have one, our example preference center. Now, when we're here, first thing that I want to show you, because this is very important, in order to get those preference options in your form, you want to make sure that your form type is email preferences. Okay, this is going to allow you to select your preference list as well as have the unsubscribe all as an available option to add. Okay, so jumping over to our build step, we're going to have our email. So that way we know who they are. And then these two first ones are going to be our email preference options. So if I go in here, this one's going to be obviously for a Sugar Market newsletter. I will select my preference list that I want it to go to. So I selected the Sugar Market newsletter. And then you're going to have either yes or no, and the return value is going to be automatic. And as you can see, it's going to be grayed out as it is automatically saying they're either opted in or opted out. Okay, you can't change the return value, but you can definitely change the display value. So you'll be able to do that. And then for these two, like I said, these are our email preferences. Now this one, if we wanted to map it to a custom field in CRM, this is how you can do that. So if we go over to edit, I'll go starting from the top. Obviously, we have a field name, which is our Sugar Market product releases. This is, again, internal. We have the, what the end user sees. And then from here, we will just map it to that field. So because this is a custom field, you'll obviously see that it says _C. This is our custom field. And for this one, obviously, we can do our display and return values, but this is going to be mapping back to Sugar CRM. Okay, so you have both. And then obviously we can also do the unsubscribe. So this one is this guy over here, unsubscribe from all Sugar Market emails. Okay, so you do have that option to add. But again, please remember that you have to make sure that you choose the form type of email preferences. Okay, So once we have our form all nice and done, we're going to go ahead and hit publish. And we are going to go over to our pages. Now, I created, not I, sorry, James created a nice little thank you for updating your email preference thank you page that can be attached once they submit that form. So we have that available, but we will see our preference page. Now, obviously this one is not, with all the pretty colors and everything, but it gets the job done. Now for this, we added, our logo, preferences, just a little information, and then we just added our form in here. Now, this will allow us to have custom preference pages. Now, once you're done setting it up, making it pretty, you're going to go ahead and hit publish. You're going to be able to get your page. So you just grab that link right there. And then, sorry, I have like multiple tabs. If you guys know me, you know that that's my downfall all the time. There we go. We are going to go over to our emails and how do we add this custom page to our emails. So we're going to go over to, again, our preference email. Now, one thing that you should note is that you should always, if you're going to use a custom preference page, you want to make sure you unclick this, because if not, it's going to be adding the default one, the one that I showed you before. So you'll have that. You'll make sure to uncheck that. And we're going to go over to next. And at the bottom of here, you're going to put update your email preferences. You're going to make this obviously a link. You click on that. Oops, of course, it's having a little meltdown there. You're going to click on email preferences here, hyperlink that, and then you would just put in that link that you have. When we go in and check it, it's going to be that page that we just saw. So I'm just going to use this one and go, and it's going to be our custom preference page. Now you can create as many as you need. Again, you can definitely use these for different languages, different regions, all that good stuff. Okay. So that is going to be our custom. And I'm jumping ahead. So jumping ahead over to our managing your list. Okay. We want to make sure that you know how to manage these lists, because you can have a couple of them. So with preference list, you can definitely check who has opted in and who has opted out. You can manually update or add new records. So for custom preference pages, you can use custom reports or CRM reports to segment your data. And you can easily drag and drop these lists to attach them to your emails and nurtures. Again, this is going to be really helpful for you guys. So let me show you a little bit about that. And you can see some screenshots here. So jumping back. So we're going to go back home and we're going to go over to our list. You guys are going to get really familiar with this. So we're going to go back down to our preference list. So as you can see here, again, we've seen this before. You're going to be able to see all your preference list, people who opted in, opted out. For this one, where is this one? Which one was a good one? There we go, newsletter. Once you click into it, you'll be able to see people's names of who have opted in and opted out, their email addresses, and their status. As you can see, I decided to opt out on this one. And you can manually update their opt-in, opt-out status. So you can go to to the little pencil and change the status if you need to. Okay. You're also able to change the name of your preference list and your description. And if you want to, you can add people, manually. You can add emails. You can import from a distribution list, and you can import from external files. So those are a couple options of how you can add these people. Obviously, if you have your preference page, they will be added automatically, but you do have these additional options in here. Okay. Now, I'm going to just go back a little bit here. For custom preference pages, you can use these two reports in CRM and all of that good stuff. So I'm going to show you what that looks like on the CRM side. So give me 2 seconds. There we go. This is our demo instance in here. Now, as I showed you in that custom one, you did have that custom field that's mapping back to CRM, right? So if I go over to, if it ever loads, over to the contact record, we will be able to see that information in there. I don't know why it's not loading. Also just saw that James is here. So hi, James.
Hello, that might be my fault why it's not loading because I also logged into that account.
There you go. That's the reason. Okay, so we're just going to pick on James, and we're going to go over to his record, and we'll see here that that custom field mapped back over to CRM, and we're going to see preference product releases. He has subscribed. Now, with this information, obviously it is in CRM, and the great thing about it is that you can actually create a report directly from here.
And you can also see further down on my record, if you look further down, you'll see a form submission. And you should see that there you go, I've submitted the preference page. And you can see my answers in here as well. So it's submitting everything through, not just the preference, but all the answers I've given into the one area showing a form submission as well.
So you'll have visibility for all of that. Thank you. So once we have this information, now that we have it in here, we can actually create a report here directly in CRM. And now we're going to go over to reports. And as you can see, we already created one in here. Once we click on that, it will just give us everybody who has opted in. So, you know, product release, yes, they want to get that information. Now, obviously, you can keep this report for your records in CRM, but you can also create a dynamic distribution list, obviously connecting CRM, Sugar CRM, and Market, and pass that information over. So you can create a list. So from here, jumping back into Sugar Market, once you've done your report in CRM, you can actually create, again, a dynamic distribution list where you connect the systems. And as you can tell, there's two people in this preference list, James and Fiona, and they're going to be syncing over. Okay.
And this is a live list. So any report you created in CRM that's looking at your preferences, it's automatically going to be updated as well inside Sugar Market. You don't have to recreate it every time. It will be ready for your next email campaign.
Exactly. So you have that power with Sugar Market and Sugar CRM. Now, obviously, you can do that. You can create the reports in CRM, but you can also create reports in Sugar Market. Okay, so I'm going to close out another window. For this one, I can definitely create, although I'll give credit to James because he created this, preference list from within CRM, not CRM, sorry, Sugar Market. We have added, you know, their contact ID, their email. Those are key columns to have in order for this to be a dynamic list report. And we are going to add our filters, which are our preference product release equals yes, and our contacts. And when we run the report, we'll see those two people as well, James and Fiona. Okay. Now with these, you can actually add them and attach them to your emails and your nurtures. Okay. So now you've created them. I live with a whole bunch of tabs, so I'm sorry, guys. But let me show you how we got here. When we go over to our emails or nurtures, you can go over to your email, and on your recipient step, you're going to be able to add all of these lists into your include. So as a distribution list, which we had, we'll have this one, our preference list product release. If we have a preference list, pardon me, we'll be able to add that in here. And we will also have reports. So we'll just add those as well.
So they're the three options in there. Yep. You have your top option in here, which is your dynamic list, your report coming from CRM. The middle option is your kind of standard basic preference list. And the bottom option in here is again with custom. On here, it's looking at fields and data that you have in your fields and creating a report or attaching a report as a mailing list in your email campaign.
Yep.
And you'll notice as well, yeah. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I just really like this, just to see it. By default, any preference list is opted in. You can obviously send it out to opt out, which you shouldn't, but you can. But by default, it's going to be the opted in option. Okay. Perfect. So that is really how we can attach our list, everything that we create into our emails or our nurtures. The nurtures are the same thing, and I'll just quickly show you guys. Oh, this one's published. Sorry. I got way too excited. So you'll see here, distribution, we have the same one. We also have our preferences, so we can do that. And obviously we have our reports. So they all
And
work.
in here you have auto refresh as well. So you can have it auto refresh. So anybody new who appears on those lists can then be added into these nurtures hourly, daily, or weekly. So if I update my preferences later to right now, in 1 hour from now, it can say, okay, James is now on this list. Let's add him into this nurture and send in this email.
Yep. So you'll have the ability to do that. So that is going to be your emails, your single emails, and your nurtures. So again, we're making it easy. We're making it super simple for you guys to add them. Okay. Now takeaways. Do you want to take it away, James? Sorry, that was a horrible.
Terrible dad jokes. Okay. Our takeaways from today. So the main thing really to think about with preference pages is giving your database, giving your leads, your contacts, the power to control what they receive from you. Okay. Yeah, you've got to do some work up front, but really it's going to make your life easier and your database and your recipient's life easier so they can control what you're receiving from you. You're going to prevent unnecessary global opt-outs. You're giving them the option to choose, okay, I want to receive newsletters, but I don't want events. We don't want them clicking on, okay, we've got no options. We've only got global opt-out. I'll click on that. We don't want them clicking on that option because once they do that, you can no longer send them an email. What you can do as well is create targeted lists that are always ready to use. So they're live and up to date, again, based on when somebody opts in or opts out of a particular mailing. Also on here, easily manage your mailing list. So as we've seen, as Vivi showed you, you can easily manage and tweak those lists if you need to. But once you create them, they kind of just do their thing. They're ready to go. And one thing to remember as well, for custom preference centers, definitely consider pushing data to CRM. I mean, you can push to lists if you want to. That's an easy option. But if you push to CRM, it's giving you additional reporting options that you can use then on the CRM side. So these are our takeaways. And again, if you haven't got a preference center in place, I'd really start to think about what you can do. And is it going to be, maybe for a start, you start with the basic option on there. But if you have a higher need, you can obviously definitely go ahead and build a custom preference center if you need to.
Yep. And again, super simple. Go over to list.
Hide the button in the top right-hand corner, which I don't like. But anyway, but yeah, if you in the top right-hand corner, there's your preference page.
Yep.
Builder up there. And it will already be linking to it. So even if you haven't edited this and you have had a previous unsubscribe link in your email, right now it will be directing to whatever you have on this page. So please, if you haven't already, please go and take a look at your setup for your preference page, even if it's just adding a logo in there. But it will link through to this for their global opt-out.
And it will make a huge difference. Obviously, if you guys go, you haven't set it up, the only thing that will be available is this unsubscribe from new email, from all emails, not new emails, from all emails. And again, that's what we're trying to avoid. So go in there and add, different options. And you can always go in there and add additional ones. But we just want to make sure we prevent people from unsubscribing globally. So.
And I'm pretty sure the question that's just come through on here is a question, something you brought up earlier, Viri, to me, I think. So is there a way or plan to incorporate a frequency preference? For example, a person that only wants to receive emails once a month on there. So yeah, if you want to explain, Viri, I'm pretty sure you mentioned this earlier. It's another customer asked for this, and it has been sent through to the product team to look into, but it isn't something that we have in there right now as a frequency. We do have a frequency kind of option on nurtures, which is the throttle. So you can say anybody in another nurture, so you can throttle them from receiving any other emails on there for a certain amount of time, but it's not really a preference, I would say. It just means that they can't receive an email in this nurture for a certain number of days if they've already received another email from you.
Yeah.
But again, this is something we brought up with our product team to look into in the next iteration we bring out with our preference builder, our preference lists.
Yeah. So definitely, like James mentioned, it's not something right now, but the product team is aware of it. Okay, perfect. And then just jumping into some resources. And if anybody has any questions, additional questions, please feel free to send them in. But for our resources, obviously, if you guys have a sugar market consultant, please don't worry. We're here to help. Please send us your questions. You can also send your questions to your account manager or your customer success manager for help. We will have this deck available, correct? Just want to make sure that
we will, yep.
We'll have this deck available, and obviously you guys will be able to click on these links, but we'll have a direct link to our preference list and center user guide, which is super helpful. It has nice pictures. I'm a visual person, so I absolutely love pictures. We'll also have the link to Sugar Club. If you guys haven't checked out Sugar Club, which I'm sure most of you guys have since you guys are here, this is a great resource, not only for Sugar Market, but all of our sugar products. And we also have Sugar U. So you'll have that available. Are there any other questions?
It's a shorter one this time around. Last month it was lead scoring, which I know was a full hour of content. This one is a little bit shorter.
Yeah,
But lead scoring is a big.
it's a big subject. Yeah, I hope this
Any
is
other questions?
yeah. Don't be shy. No, I guess not.
And I think you lucky people are going to have a guest presenter for next month. So get ready for that one.
All righty. We have a quiet crowd. All righty. Well, thank you everyone for joining this call. Veery, James, as always, thanks for your expertise in leading this session. We'll go ahead and add the recording to Sugar University. So if any of your colleagues missed it, if you want to forward this along, or you actually want to go back and listen to this session or any of the previous sessions that we've had, just feel free to go to Sugar University. You can search the catalog, Sugar Market Academy, and all of the recordings will be in there. All right. Well, thanks so much, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Viri. Bye, everyone.
Bye.